Well, the lands of the dead are just as unpleasant as I remember them being. Luckily, I do have a little sway around some parts of it, so I have been able to make a few deals to make our progress a little easier. Of course, I don't think the Lord was happy to see me, but I don't think he's ever happy to see me, really. So we've made a little progress. Honestly, though, I do feel going forward, Sigrun is going to be key. After all, I have never been to the lands of Valhalla, so I do not really know how to get there. Still, we need to get this rooster back there, or things are going to be very chilly. Still, we're all here, and as always, when the three of us work together, there really is little I feel we can't do. Of course, we do still need to be a little cautious. Even demigods like us can become lost in these realms. We must tread carefully. This is Red Moon role-playing. Well, flowers, I can definitely arrange those.
I can always. This land you inhabit seems barren and dead. Maybe I could help get some flowers here. I can make them grow.
Well, Lord Miklantikutli and I believe it was Miktikaziwatl. My apologies for my poor pronunciation. If you need men or women killed, then certainly I would be able to see to that if you wish. Would you be fine with criminals?
He doesn't give a shrug, but he nods his head almost dismissively.
Then the next forthcoming 20 kills that I... Oh, is it 20 for all of us?
No, just 20 for Emmanuel, who's asking the favor.
Well, I mean, if you're happy to kill them for me, and as you said, criminals, does there need to be a time limit? Can we say this year?
You have a year and a day to bring me 20 souls.
In that case, I will assist Rashmi with that, of course. I'd appreciate your help. Very well, then. I would not wish to just give you... Yes, I'm not a fan of delivering souls here before their time, but I can...
We may still pursue flowers if that's what we want. I don't mind either way. I just figured murder would be more efficient.
I just find it weird that lords and ladies of this kingdom of death would actually be urging you to get more souls for them. Don't all people have their measured time on the planet, and shouldn't that should not be up to them to shorten it?
Well, actually, in this case, it is up to them to shorten it. That's the point of the sacrifice. The people we sacrifice to them might live longer if we did not intervene. However, Sigrun, if you want to make something grow, I'd very much appreciate it. I'm sure they would as well. Why don't you try?
Yes, I can see what I can do.
Alright, Sigrun, you can start making some flowers simply bloom out of cracks. It's very difficult with your power, but you can absolutely do that. And I believe you even have overgrowth. Yes, so please spend 1 legend, and we will combine that with some of your casual miracles.
I do have, let's see, stimulate or suppress the growth of a plant or crops. I take it as it's some kind of sort of ritual going on or something, or is it just something that happens?
For the Norse, you would be casting runes, or you'd be weaving a thread and using sidear.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably doing that with my staff in my hand as well.
All right, so you tie a string onto the end of your staff, and you stab it down into a small crack so it holds upright. You unravel the thread, and then you begin weaving it in a complex array as you get ever closer and closer to your staff, until finally you're touching it, and you have essentially gloves made of cord tightly wrapped and woven around you. You wrench the staff free. For a few moments, nothing happens, and then suddenly you hear a cracking all around there, like ice breaking. The plants begin flowering out there, beautiful plants, and as the colors illuminate them, they shine back. Orchids and roses and, well, whatever kind of flowers you wished.
I bow my head in front of the Lord and the Lady and just, silently just kind of bask in it a little bit, because, hey, this is kind of cool.
The lady claps her hands in delight. Her bony hands make a clack, clack, clack sound with her clap.
Well, I hope, my lady, that pleases you. Truly a miracle in this realm. And they're rather pretty as well. Don't you agree, Rashmi?
Yes, they're quite delightful.
The Lord says, I will still take those 20 souls if you're offering.
Well, come now. If you want 20 souls for something else, I'm afraid you're going to have to offer me something. I smile quite brazenly.
Speedy passage out of my realm isn't enough?
Ugh. All right, we'll still give you 20 souls a year and a day.
All right. He claps his hands as well, making a clack, clack, clacking sound. And he says, it is agreed then. The bargain is struck. Come to my bone wagon.
My, how fascinating. Sorry about that, Rashmi, although I don't know. You seem looking forward to the concept of killing these people.
Well, I was merely assuming that, considering what we usually do, we do wind up with quite a bit of bodies, and figured it might as well devote them to something.
That's true, although we do try and, have some little mercy. I know, it's me talking, and I know I remember a couple of thousand years ago it was all
mercy. We're just speeding them up to the next life. I think that's mercy enough. They've kind of made a right mess of this one.
And I just sort of smile and laugh, as I often have conversations like this, I imagine, with Rashmi. And we head to the bone wagon.
You might be imagining some sort of massive wagon that's been drawn by bony horses or something suitably ornate, but instead what you come across is what appears to be a massive hot rod car with a small seat in the front that the Lord begins wedging himself into, contorting his impossibly large frame.
How do we cling to the vehicle? Is that the...
Yes.
Ah.
He says, fear not, I shall take you to the Vale, if that is where you want to go.
Yes, that's where we want to go. Sigrun, you get on first, and, we're really clinging to the vehicle. I mean, I'm not very good at clinging to things.
I can hold us all in place, don't worry.
Thank you, Sigrun.
I would appreciate that.
Just trust me. I smile, and I kind of, reach out and, try to grab some hold and kind of get you in front of me so that we all kind of hang at the back or something.
As you hang on to this huge hot rod, the Lord says, hold on. As if you need to be told that. He starts it up, and fire roars out of the massive pipes on the side and the engines. The hot rod nearly pops a wheelie, lifting its two front tires off the ground for a moment before slamming back down, almost throwing all of you off. You rocket down the streets of the city. The dead throw themselves out of the way of their oncoming lord as you speed through the night. It seems like an impossibly long time you're clutching to this thing. It can't be more than... It feels like hours, but consciously you know it can't be more than a few minutes. The first thing that catches your eye is a neon sign that stands in stark contrast to the featureless gray stone you've been passing this entire time. And then you see another, and then a street light. You pass through a thick mist and into a small rainstorm, rendering all the neon signs in a diffuse glow. In the distance, lightning flashes across a vast emptiness, illuminating skyscrapers, stretching impossibly high into the void, lost to fog after the first few stories. As you drive into the heart of the city, The Lord seems to be taking things a little bit more steadily here. This is no longer his domain. You have crossed over. He eventually brings the bone wagon to a stop. And he says, "This is the Vale, the place where non-believers come to their eternal rest. Unless they wish to endure our trials, or perhaps those of the Netcher, the Egyptians."
I look around a little sad, just say. It amazes me that there are still people who can deny that we're here. I mean, why? It doesn't make any sense.
There are millions down here. Walking and roaming the streets, you see them sitting in cafes and eating in small restaurants and the like. They're all dressed in muted shades of gray, brown, and black, fashions that range from Roman Republic-era togas and traditional Korean hanboks to jeans and sweatshirt uniform of every standard college kid. Nothing is brandished, embellished, otherwise unique. Even those few people here wearing fine-cut suits see them colored charcoal. Rashmi, you are drawing an enormous amount of attention, both for being a source of light and heat in this realm, but also because you are wearing bright red clothing, which sets you dramatically apart.
Well, if they are ever going to change their minds in terms of worship, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it. Are they approaching me, or are they just revering me from a distance?
They seem to be giving you a very wide berth.
Ah, well, that's good enough. I give them a polite smile, but otherwise I keep my eye on the target.
Tell me, Lord, once again, we just have to travel through the Vale, and then how do we know how to get to Valhalla specifically? I'm sure the Vale connects to all the afterlives.
The Lord chuckles. It's a dry sound deep in his bones. And he says, "You only asked for passage here. I'm afraid I can't help you get beyond."
Oh, you have always been a rascal. Very well understood. I guess we'll be parting ways until I next come for a visit. Hopefully that won't be for quite a while.
I can wait. You get the sense that he's smiling, even though he has no lips and his face is not changed.
Right then, friends, shall we get going? I guess we have to... the Vale. You know anything about this place? Either of you two? I've actually been here before.
You can make an occult plus intellect roll, anyone who has it.
3 successes for me.
5 successes.
Rashmi, you know there's definitely a way out of the Vale. You suspect that the one that leads to your underworlds, there might be a Chinatown to this area, as there are so many other places in the worlds. And in the back of a vast ceremonial garden somewhere, perhaps, there's a trapdoor that leads to Diu, the Chinese underworld, which itself is shared by the Japanese and the Hindu underworlds. But Sigrun, you have walked between worlds before, and you can sense the connection to Vanaheim, however tenuous, beyond here.
Don't I have internal compass?
You can feel the connection, and you are led, and you lead them, the other three, to a skyscraper. Inside, you see just sort of artists and poets milling about, including one security guard who doesn't really seem to be guarding anything per se. Everyone gawks at Rashmi as you all walk in.
Oh, please, it's not like you've seen a manifestation of fire before.
I almost feel a little jealous, you know.
They are? Really?
Well, I don't think they're jealous. I mean, I feel jealous. Goodness me, you're getting all the attention.
Well, you can certainly have it if you want. I'm not interested in their attention. They don't believe in anything.
That's a good point. Anyway, Sigrun, very good, leading the way. What's this building here, then? Is where we're supposed to go?
It seems like that, yes.
Emmanuel, you feel an innate need to make sure that nothing really goes wrong in this land. You don't know why, and you don't know how, but you feel like this needs to remain a place of safety and a place of harmony for the dead who don't believe in the pantheons yet to go. But even as you're contemplating this internal feeling, a security guard and a few others suddenly park themselves in front of Rashmi. And they're like, you clearly are not from around here. Who are you?
Now, what gave it away? Was it my accent? I suppose there's no harm in saying it. We're travelers.
Yes, that's right. We're just free travelers. We are not of your kind, but, well, we're nothing special, really. Just passing through. We're clearly not dead. But don't worry, we won't be staying here.
Of course, I'm as surprised by this sudden brightness as you are.
I'm afraid we can't let you leave this place.
Why not?
Well, you are free to go. I don't really care much for the finer things. He sort of gestures at your fine suits and the like. He says, but in case you haven't noticed here, it's rather chilly, and there's no way to warm ourselves up. And we don't see color a whole heck of a lot, so I think it'd be best if you stayed here with us for a while. A lot of the other shades are sort of nodding their heads in agreement.
Is it a threat?
He steps forward. And he says, obviously you don't know the rules of this little realm, Godling. So let me tell you this. You can't hurt us. You can't kill us already more than we already have. You don't have a lot of power here.
You're cold, you say? You have no collar? I'm sorry, may I... She, or rather I, simply produce a small matchbox from one of my pockets and say, perhaps I can offer you a boon in return for our safe passage. I'm assuming you would prefer this to be dealt with non-violently. Although you do insist that I may not be able to hurt you, I don't mind trying. But if we can pass without any violence, that would be fine with me. Light the matchstick and goes, now, flames are not common here, I suppose.
No, not really. No such thing as a fireplace.
I will use my boon Eternal Flame, which costs me 1 legend to imbue, and it's indefinite, and I will create from this little match a flame about the size of a large campfire, which will burn indefinitely without needing any additional fuel, and it can't be extinguished by non-magical means. And I will simply offer it to them and say, well, perhaps this may warm you, and maybe there's some room in that cold heart of yours for, if not worship, then at least respect for the divine.
In the light of your divine fire, you see colors start to return to their bodies and their cheeks, almost as if their clothes are sort of rippling with the divine energy flowing across them. They all look at each other in a bit of wonder, and the guard doesn't say anything. He's just too shocked. The 4 of you, rather, slip past without any further incident at this unexpected display of generosity.
Yes, of course.
And do I feel that didn't disrupt things too much?
No, probably not, but you can't leave the fire burning indefinitely.
Well, I just whisper to Rashmi, can you put those things out over a long distance?
Yes, certainly. As soon as I decide not to, I can just make it disappear.
Wonderful. I know it sounds strange, but best to, when we're out of here, just do it quickly, because otherwise I have a feeling it might cause some sort of divine disruption. Funnily enough, I'm not sure why.
Well, certainly. I don't mind doing that. Just give me the word and I will extinguish it with a thought.
Wonderful. But let's, hush hush for now, and I look to Sigrid like, let's get out of here quickly.
You take the elevator yet again for the second time today. This time, you're sitting in the elevator as the numbers continue to scroll up and up. 50, then 60, then 90, then 150. Somewhere around the thousands, the door chimes and opens to roof access. You see that the entrance to the roof is locked, and engraved upon the lock is a tiny rune. Do any of you have subterfuge to pick the lock?
Yes, I do.
Alright, I would suggest that you spend a legend to imbue for scale, since this is a divine lock and it is also at scale. So if you imbue for scale, you will get scale 3, which will put you 1 over on this. It's going to be a difficulty 3 to open.
So either the Defiant Child or the Demigod opposed to Loki?
Either of those would work perfectly fine to justify an increase in scale.
And then I roll, subterfusion?
Let's say if you're just trying to pick the lock straight,
Yeah.
let's say subterfuge and dexterity.
Yeah.
Again, it's difficulty 3, but because your scale is 1 above, you get plus 2 successes.
So I need to roll just 1?
You just need to roll just 1.
Yeah. Come on.
You got this.
And I get 3, actually.
Very nice. Total of 5. The lock snaps open, and the rune brightly flares with a golden light, and then goes dark. The lock clatters to the ground. You throw wide the door, and you see beyond a series of spidery metal catwalks that extend up into the distance. You hear the sound of rushing water, despite being so far above the city that you can't imagine any kind of river or lake up here.
Can we see the Rainbow Bridge anywhere?
Not yet, but you have a feeling that it's just beyond this catwalk.
In that case, I start leading the way with my staff in hand and my head held high.
Yes, I make sure to follow very carefully, keeping my composure. After all, heights. Wow, it is quite the long way down.
Yes, you start walking up the catwalks, and walking, and walking, and walking. Eventually, after climbing another innumerable stairs, you are definitely getting your steps in this day. The catwalk flattens out and simply extends into the distance. And so, the 4 of you, Rooster included, continue walking down this long, long path. You all continue walking for several hours, and hours more and hours more. Eventually, you are tired and hungry, and the catwalk continues to stretch off into the void seemingly forever. Do any of you have any food with you, or any other supplies?
I admit I was not expecting to need anything for such a long journey, so no, I'm starting to get a little bit irritated, as I say. I mean, how much longer does the road go on for? Rooster, any ideas?
The rooster goes, "Buck, buck."
I look around. Do I still have this sense of the way just being very close by, or have I lost it? Are we lost?
You are not lost. It simply takes a very long time.
So, this Dominion stunt called Dandelion Banquet, could I conjure that up, or?
You absolutely could.
It says local edible foliage, but it also says which grows if none is present, so...
What you would do is you would imbue a point of legend in the Dominion boon, and then you would roll survival plus an applicable skill. Describe how the dandelions and the other edible plants grow along this empty catwalk of spidery metal, and from whence they grow.
Actually, I think they originate from my staff, as I kind of put it into the ground or into the metal here. You can hear the ringing sound it makes, and tiny tendrils, branches, and roots start to spread out. And then develop flowers, edible flowers, and berries, and all sorts of mushrooms. And as I pull the staff out of it, it kind of like stays on the metal and kind of spreads out for a little bit, but then it stops, and all of a sudden, yeah, we have food.
Well, you know what? They say when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I guess when in the Vale, eat the local cuisine. Good work, Sigrun. What do you think, Rashmi?
Yes, quite impressive, really. You'd have to teach me how to do that, Sigrun.
Hang on, I needed to roll as well.
You did. So let's say survival and I'd say force, so probably intellect.
So, no, that's 3 then. A 7, a 9, and a 10.
That is enough to create an edible banquet. A lot of the fruits are very, very watery and have a lot of moisture to them, so you barely miss the lack of potable water.
Oh, this, you know what, Sigrun, you really have hidden talents, you magnificent being, you.
This is quite delicious.
Yes, munching on apples, you continue along your way.
You know, I'm surprised they haven't installed some sort of locomotion. This would, you know, make it much quicker. What do you think, a train or, you know, a boat?
I think walking is just enough.
What about one of those, what are they called? The moving walkways at airports.
Escalator!
Yes, one of the escalators, I suppose.
At a whim, Rashmi, you sort of decide to check your phone to see how long you've been down here. You realize you wouldn't get any reception down here, but surely the phone would continue to keep the time, at least.
Yeah, surely.
You are a little shocked for a moment when you look at it. At first you think it's been nearly 12 hours that you've spent since you came down to the surface. It doesn't feel like nearly that long. And then you realize the date is wrong. It's been 9 days you've been walking down these catwalks.
Oh, well, this is interesting.
No?
Yes, it would seem we've been here for roughly 9 days, I'd say. Just on this catwalk.
Oh. I'm a little concerned about that. I hope the winter isn't spreading too badly.
Sigrun, are you sure this is... We just have to follow this road and it will be fine?
Yes, it should lead us to Bifrost.
Sigrun, up ahead, you see mist on the catwalk. The first thing you've seen in 9 days.
I nod towards the mist. Maybe all we needed was to realize we were already here.
So this mist, is that Bifrost, the one you mentioned? Wasn't that supposed to be a rainbow?
I hope it is, or we might be in the wrong place.
Well, I'm sure your intuition has not led us wrong, so come, let us onwards and offwards. I'm getting a little cold, a little hungry again. I really would like to be out of the realm of the dead. You can see why I don't like hanging around here in the first place.
The shuddering metal of the catwalk eventually gives way to something firmer. Feels like plaster almost, as you walk deep into the mists. The air here is still chill. You've come to expect that of the underworlds. But when you finally pass out on the other side of the mist, your boots and shoes clack on hard stone and beaten dirt. This is a dreary place where you are. You are not near the Bifrost. You are in Helheim. And you have come to the great bridge, Jarlbru.
We're not exactly where we were going, but it should probably be easy to get to where we need to be. I hope.
Where exactly are we?
This is Helheim.
I'm going to assume from context clues that that's not a nice place to be in.
It is ruled by Hel. And we should probably try to leave as quickly as we can.
Noted. Well, in that case, let's put our backs into it, as they say, and let's get moving. Doesn't seem like a nice place at all. Come along, Rooster.
You eventually come to a series of gates. Beyond the gates, you can see they are half open. You can see a bridge spanning a massive river. But standing in front of you is a tall frost giant woman, clad in armor and wielding what appears to be a wicked and huge warhammer. She stomps it on the stones as you come. She says, "I am Modguder, Guardian of Hell, state your business. You are not dead.
No, we are mere travelers on our way to Valhalla, and we seek to passage through this sacred lands.
She says, the gate to hell allows only the dead through. I'm afraid you are trapped here until that time comes.
But look, we're not like we're just gallivanting around. This rooster here belongs to you. Well, not you, but Valhalla. We need to get it there. You can clearly see it's a divine being.
Sigrun, make a occult plus resolve roll.
3 success.
You are familiar with many Norse myths. There's definitely ways around Modguder. There's a traditional Norse story of a woman who, upon reaching the gates of hell, tore the head off a rooster and threw it over the wall. When it landed, it came to life and crowed, which allowed her to follow with its body, since she was still carrying the body around.
I turned to Gulen Combi. I kind of look a bit apologetic as I walk towards him.
Oh, you're planning to do something?
According to legend, this works. And I pick up not pick up, he was quite tall, wasn't he?
I think Emmanuel is the only one who has a bladed weapon on him.
Yes.
Unless you want to try to shoot the head off.
No, that probably won't do it. So, I turn to Emmanuel. According to legend, there was a woman that she was able to get through here by distracting her with the head of a rooster that crowed when she threw it over the walls.
Oh, right. Oh, so I kind of flicked my knife out, and
It will come alive on the other side, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, that's good to know. All right then, I quickly hand the knife over.
No, please, you do it.
I'm okay. Well, despite not liking it, admittedly, blood is good for me. All right then, sorry, dear friend, and I just sort of go forward and do my best to strike down this being's neck with my flint knife, which, being quite a special knife, gives me a enhancement 2 on actions that draw blood.
Please give me a might plus melee roll.
Is that close combat?
Yes, I'm sorry, close combat, that's what I meant.
And an enhancement 2 means 2 successes are already there, right?
It means 2 successes as long as you roll 1.
Ah, I see, okay, so 2 successes, and then 2 more, 4 successes.
Its neck is thick and muscular, but it is no match for your knife. The rooster caws a little bit in surprise as your blade bites into it, and it struggles for a brief moment, flapping its massive wings. As it stumbles away from you, it pitches forward out of blood loss, its legs just sort of pumping uselessly in the dirt. It dies a messy and gory death, and from then it is butcher's work to remove the head from the body. You are covered in blood, Emmanuel. Your fine suit with a white shirt now stained crimson.
And yet I do my best to wipe it off with a hand, and I do believe I feel a little bit of, well, my legend powers increasing, because of course with the sacrificial knife, or the flint knife rather, it does allow me a few things when I end lives with it. So it's a mixture of slight disgust at what I've done, but knowing that my powers are fueled by sacrifice.
Sigrun, you take the head of the rooster and you punt it over the gate. It flies, enhanced by your epic strength kick. It flies over the air and over the river, and then lands on the other side. Modguder gives you a smile and a bit of a head nod. She says, yes, it'll crow, and then the 3 of you can take the body there.
I bow my head, in respect, of course, and, smile a little.
She says that will only work once. A few seconds later, a massive caw fills the entire air. It's not quite as earth-shattering as it was in New York, but it's still one of the loudest things you've ever heard.
Ugh.
Are we quite certain we're not triggering some second Ragnarok while we're doing this?
Something tells me this land doesn't really mind an eternal winter.
Oh, well, I suppose.
I start towards the gates.
The three of you keep a hand on the bird's body as you drag it across. And you drag it across the bridge, and eventually you come across the incredibly loud calling rooster's head. You reattach it to the body. None of you have any medicine, I don't think.
No.
Sadly, no.
Sigrun, the head is now affixed to the body through a mesh of vines that you have grown just for the purpose.
There we are, all good as new. You're looking great already, dear friend. Again, apologies for the sudden violence.
All right. From there, it is a very short trip to the root of a massive ash tree.
I think you can almost see Sigrun grow taller with every step closer to the ash tree.
You are but a branch or a root of this mighty tree, the mightiest tree in all creation, Yggdrasil. It is the center of the cosmos. The gods walk its branches. From there, it is a short trip to Valhalla. Off in the distance, you see Helgafjell, the holy mountain, and Sethrumir, Freya's domain. But where you want is the Hall of the Fallen, home to the Einherjar, the mighty slain in battle.
I think my pace quickens as well. Do we need to climb the tree, or is there a road up there?
It's easy to climb, almost as if it was designed to do it. You don't even need to make a roll to get up there.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of quicken my pace a bit and kind of stretch back to help my friends up, just so that we can get there more quickly.
Yes, I follow along quickly. I'm actually quite intrigued by our surroundings, but then I look irritated at Rashmi, again brushing off the blood on my nice suit, and I'm like, alright, well, again, we're not here to sightsee, let's move along.
Well, I wasn't saying anything, but certainly.
Rashmi, maybe no fire when in the tree, please.
Ah, yes. Well, of course, I'll try to prevent sudden outbursts of burning, scalding hot fire.
I think it might need a bit more than your fire to burn it down, but we can never be sure.
Of course.
You have no doubt that when you leave these underworlds, you will collapse out of exhaustion, but you four now, 3 living, 1 dead, continue to walk. It's several hours more until you come to what appears to be a very sunny day. But as you stare up into the sky, you see that despite it being blue, there's merely a hole where the sun should be, and beyond it you can see the light of stars. Despite that, the area is brightly lit, although direct sunlight falls on no one here. You walk up to some massive gates. Beyond them, you see a massive hall thatched with golden shields and spears. Bigger than any Norse hall you've ever seen. Bigger than like stadiums and skyscrapers laying on its side. Just outside of Valhalla stands Glasnir, a heartbreakingly beautiful tree with golden red leaves. A man is sitting beneath it with a book propped on his lap. 2 crows alight on his shoulders, and as you walk up to him, he looks up at you, and you see he only has 1 eye.
Allfather.
He says, Loki's daughter, welcome.
I bow my head and well, I actually take a knee in front of him as well.
I give a respectful bow, aware of the importance of this individual.
Allfather, Gulen Combi was in the wrong place. We need to find how he got there.
Odin stares at Gulen Combi, now beheaded, and his head tied back on his body through a series of vine straps. And he's like, What did you do to him?
It was our only way to get into Helheim.
He says, oh, the rooster trick. Clever.
We were not prepared for the prices we had to pay on the way here, but we had to do what we could.
Honestly, Lord Allfather, with all due respect, you should be thankful that we are returning this rooster to you. Are you aware what kind of damage he was causing to the mortals' world?
He says, no. What happened? Did he cite the oncoming of Fimbulwinter?
I suppose you could say that, yes.
He somehow found his way into Midgard and called out for Fimbulwinter there.
It's in the hands of some Ulvardi, I believe his name was. Ulvardi?
Ulvardi. Very well. Bring the rooster in, and we will see what can be done.
According to Ulvardi, Hrungir had given him the rooster.
Hrungir?
Yes.
That changes things.
It feels like it's just a bad excuse for something else. Do we know what Hrungir has been up to? Do we know what Loki has been up to?
No, but my blood brother has long been gone from these halls of Asgard. As for Hrungir, he was seeking a heart for his clay giant Mokakurafi. Mokakurafi would be enough to crush many of the cities of your world underfoot, treading across Midgard with wild abandon.
Well, that all sounds frightfully, not good.
But that can wait for another day. Bring the crow here that he might lift the curse upon Midgard. Then join me to feast in my halls, and we will discuss our next steps.
Certainly, we would be most honored to dine in the halls of Valhalla. Don't suppose you have any thing to clean clothing as well? I fear well, actually, I don't know. Maybe I look good for the Hall of Warriors.
There have been those drenched in more blood than you through these halls. The rooster lets out one final caw. Its throat damaged from the knife, but you feel something break in the distance, as if it's reset. Odin, the Allfather, cringes for a moment and then looks around. He says, well, it seems that Ragnarok has not come yet.
Well, that's a relief, but I'll be honest with you, I kind of knew it wasn't.
You all feast in Odin's hall for some time, and then you return to the world for further adventures, fighting the evil Jotun Hrungir.
Wonderful, and what of that price? Do I ever find out what that was?
Olvaldi, ask for the weight of one of your fine tall buildings in gold.
Ha! Easy. I smile, and while it will take some time, I'm sure with the help of my fellow demigods, it won't be a problem.
Yeah, something around 250,000 tons of gold. That would be enough to completely destabilize the economy of the entire world. But yeah, you could probably whip it up in about a couple of days.
No one said it needed to be officially on the records.
And that would probably be another entirely different kind of Ragnarok you're bringing about there, but hey.
A pacifist run? I fully expected you to try to attack the giant, to try to do something with the other giant, or perhaps even blow your way through the lands of the dead, but that's the way you decided to go, and that's fine. I hope you all had a lovely time.
It was amazing. Thank you very much.
Yes, no, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. And, I mean, okay, we had some fun combat stuff, but I mean, especially my character, most of my things were, one of my knacks was not a fighter. It's like, I don't fight.
I just, it was so hard to really wrap your head up around all these powers. It was so many
It
of
is.
them.
You do get a lot by the time you reach the demigod level.
Yeah, didn't even use half of them. But it's quite fun feeling so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it really is. I especially would have liked to have used my matchmaker ability, where I could just twist the fates of people who already like each other and just nudge them a little, NPCs, and just be like, "Come on, you two, yeah, there you go."
Is that you? You know, I'm the one that actually romantic reckoning when they dump each other. I help them get back, get revenge on each other.
Oh, useful.
Yeah.
I was fully ready of blowing this guy out of the water. The first giant we met was like, yeah, if you guys want to talk about it.
Oh, well, you gave the underworld or the veil an eternal fire at least, so that probably won't cause any trouble at all.
No. I mean, I got rid of it as soon as we got out of there.
my second request. So in the veil, you left it on, and now all the dead are coming back to life.
Well, that's a problem for another day.
Exactly. Wonderful. What a wonderful session. So, any closing remarks?
The Scion second edition Kickstarter is still going on right now. If you want to, you can pledge at a very low level, $5, and you will get access to the full manuscripts of the project and see if it's a game you would enjoy and want to back further. And if you want to buy the previous books in the series that are necessary to play a demigod, you can do that through the Kickstarter too, through BackerKit.
Awesome. I did notice that. So yes, please, listeners, if you did enjoy tonight and enjoy what we were doing, please do check the Kickstarter out. It should still be running when you're listening to this. So again, please check it out. It is definitely worth investigating. I personally really was enjoying. Yeah, I like things with gods and godly powers, and kudos as well to yourself, Neil Raymond Price, not only for masterfully leading us through the session, but also knowing your gods. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
that was great.
I'm from freaking Sweden, and I don't even know half of those things.
That's very impressive.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So once again, thank you so much, Neil, for leading us tonight. Thank you so much, Chris, the Primogen, for joining us. Absolute pleasure having you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you again, Jenny, as always, for joining us. Thank you for listening, listeners. Tune in again next time. And in the meantime, remember, believe in any god you want, because if you don't, you go to the Vale. It's not very nice there.
No.
Horrible place, really.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Scion, Demigod, which is published by our friends at Onyx Path Publishing and is on Kickstarter right now. Our game master was Neil Price, and Craig was joined by Jenny Bremberg and the Primogen. The music was created by Lisa Listvi and Mount Shrine, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your games. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, and David Hagberg for their generous support. And we would of course like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.